Hi, my name's Phil.
And my name is Rob.
And we've been mates for years. We've done loads of stuff together.
All of which, mainly, have turned into chaos.
But someone then suggested, why don't you do a podcast? That seemed like a good idea, didn't it?
Really did.
Then we realised neither of us have ever done one of those. So is this going to work?
Well, we'll find out, won't we?
Welcome to Two Pastors in a Pod.
So, I don't know, before we start this podcast
Yes.
today, I want to talk about fashion sense. I didn't get the memo.
What? To dress up properly?
Here's you with here's Nial, who we'll introduce in a minute.
Yep.
Here's Nial with his Gant top
Well,
on
Gant is kind of right up there.
in his posh kitchen.
Very posh kitchen.
Here's you with your Pierre Cardin.
Pierre Cardin.
And
To be honest, that's not very expensive.
do you know where I got this?
Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's. Yeah, but Sainsbury's, chewy, chew, it's posh.
Is it?
Yeah.
What, did they not have anything posh in there?
Compared to F&F.
Well, that's what this is.
Feeding and Fred.
This is Tesco's vest.
But if this is on the telly, other brands.
But at least I haven't got a hole in my trousers like you had last time. But we won't go into that.
Yeah, but fortunately it's not. But this is it.
Anyway, should we start the
This
podcast?
is, the podcast is about to start. So this is episode 2. We got a bit of feedback from last time. A few people listened, which is good.
Yeah.
And some people even listened to you at one point.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is podcast number 2. We're looking forward to it, but we're not on our own.
No, we have feedback that we like Scousers. So
Is that right?
So it just so happens we've got another Scouser in the house. In fact,
John-
his house.
Shropshire Accent 2.0 this is.
Is that right?
Yeah, taking over.
Well, it's good to have you with us, Niall. So you're our very first guest on our podcast. And just tell us a little bit about yourself, a bit about your background, where you're at. We're obviously in your house, which is very nice, by the way.
Yeah, thanks very much. Yeah, so from Liverpool originally.
Okay.
No,
2 versus 1.
No Scouse jokes this time. You
As
switched
yeah.
off.
their
You
band.
switched
Is
off.
that right?
You switched off the whole of Liverpool last time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
So from Liverpool-
double the viewing figures. So from Liverpool, but spent most of my adult life in London, and then found myself here in Shropshire about 5 years ago, just before COVID.
So that's the sad thing is, though, Niall, I've known you most of your life, haven't I? And the sad thing is that you were a young boy, and I was like an old man even then, wasn't I?
Yeah. You're 10 years to the day old.
You do make me feel old. Thanks,
Rob.
Thanks for that.
I thought I'd make you feel young.
Yeah.
Newsflash. You are.
Thank you.
That's no problem. So tell us,
Thank you.
so you're here in Shropshire, but you got family? Are you married? You're single? What you?
Yeah. No, I'm not single.
Okay, well, you're just pointing that out. Just pointing that out.
It's not like that type of podcast, is it? Like, oh.
I've got a wife,
Yeah.
Victoria, and 3 kids, 18, nearly 16, and 13, and they go to a local school here in Shropshire.
So, is there a big change moving the country from Liverpool?
Well, from Liverpool, see, I've only ever lived.
It wasn't Liverpool, was it?
No, so I've only ever lived in cities. So I've lived in Nottingham, Portsmouth, I've lived in London,
London town,
Sydney, Australia, and then the first time I lived in the countryside was when we moved here, and it was like what a shock to the system that was.
Because you also moved in just before COVID as well, didn't you?
Yeah. So everybody went into lockdown. We went into lockdown, and then 6 months later, or 9 months later, whenever it was, when the Prime Minister said we could all go back and be friends again, we
Good
were
old
thinking,
Boris.
"Right, let's get out there," and we'd haven't got any friends.
So, but you do have friends now,
We've got friends now.
right? So just checking that
You're
you're
a friend,
not.
aren't you? You're a friend.
No.
No. Well,
Nathan, can you give me friends?
you need all the friends you can get, pal.
Nathan's in blue as well today. What's going on?
Well, it's a dress sense thing. So we've got you here for a good reason, which we're going to look at in a little bit. But you look like a kind of a more refined man. You're clearly a Gant man. Do you have a ticket?
It's a Christmas present.
Oh, don't be out. I bet you went out and bought it especially for this podcast.
Yes.
So tipple-wise, drink-wise,
Yeah.
okay? Because everybody knows we've got to do best in brew. What would you be? A coffee man, a tea man?
Coffee.
Would you?
I told you this last week.
I'm getting well.
I told you this last week. More people like coffee
All right.
than tea.
Next time we'll do a coffee, but we have got a best in brew. Now let's just double check.
Monmouth coffee.
Monmouth.
Monmouth coffee, yeah. If you haven't tried it, Monmouth coffee. Have you tried it, Borough Market?
Oh, hang on.
Monmouth coffee, it's great.
Do you get it in Tesco's?
No.
Or
Well,
say-
You can get it online.
I bet you can,
And they'll deliver it. Mum with coffee.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, you were saying about your brew.
Are they sponsoring this?
Yeah.
podcast or something?
Other coffees are
Have they had a word?
I'm saying Mum with coffee.
You're open for the free supply.
So, best in brew. What did we do last episode? What did we try?
What you did wrong
Yes.
was you didn't let it brew.
Well,
it
I've
was
done.
it was best in without the brew.
But what did we drink?
I don't know, rosé.
No, it wasn't. It was beetroot.
Oh, ginger, beetroot, and
Yeah. This one's different. Okay,
Right.
this one's different, and I brewed it. So here we go. This is best in brew.
You've actually
I've actually done it properly this time. It might still look a little bit weak, but it'll be all right.
And you put milk in this.
It does look
Yeah.
like one of those tea bags that shouldn't have milk with it.
No, well, it might well look like that, and you can have it without milk. But I reckon, I'll be honest, this is my favourite tea. This is what I would drink
I think
most
I know
of the
what
time.
it is already.
Come on in, boys.
Did you drink it with your pinky?
No,
Vanilla.
you can smell it.
I think there's milk.
No.
Is this your milk?
Stale milk gone off.
It's stale. When there's bits floating round in the
It'll be
top.
fine. So have a sniff. Have a sniff. See what you reckon. See, that is my favourite tea.
That's
What do you reckon?
it's Earl Grey, isn't it?
No.
No.
What do you reckon it is?
Chamomile.
Oh, behave. That's horrible stuff. Come on, keep trying. This is best in brew. Do you like it?
This is ridiculous.
Do you
What?
like it?
What?
Do you like it?
It's nice. Yeah, it's all right. Yeah, not as nice as coffee.
Now, I
Not as
drink,
nice as mum with coffee.
I drink this with honey.
Yeah, it's got some pleasant tones.
For the pleasant tones, this is chai.
There's hints of rosemary
It's,
and
no,
yes.
it's a spice tea. This is chai spice
Oh,
tea.
chai spice. Chai spice.
It's nice. I don't have it normally cold.
You can have it cold. It's not as nice, and I think it with
See, he's-
honey is
he
much
is-
better.
It's sophisticated. Don't you have
Right.
it normally cold?
So where would you
I've
rate it?
I've had chai tea before.
I rated the beetroot. Around about 5. You rated it at 7 for some bizarre reason.
Yeah, because
Where would you put that?
I felt sorry for you.
Oh right. Where would you put that?
Down the sink.
Yes. Come on. Where?
Eh?
Up to 10.
No, that is. I have to say, that's not bad, is it? So I'd give it. Let's go for 7 again.
Oh dear, we've got that. What about you? No.
It's actually quite
I
nice.
would.
Apart from the stale milk.
I think without the milk, it will probably score higher.
Really?
Yeah, I think the tea knocks a point off.
Okay.
So I'd go for a 6.
Would you?
Yeah.
You see, I'd go for an 8 because it's the tea I drink all the time.
He's getting very serious.
I know it is, but we got to do it.
It's serious, isn't it?
So at the moment, chai tea is well above.
Chai tea.
It's well above beetroot tea. So if people are listening, you need to get chai.
So where does chai come from?
Chai, or you can get it in Sainsbury's, Morrison's. Chai is an Indian tea. It's an Indian tea. It's
your
Indian
lot.
black tea, but it's mixed with lots of spice.
Very good.
Well,
Should we get on with what we're talking about?
Well, we
today?
are. But why have we got Nial? No, we've asked you about your family, and obviously you've had some movement.
Yeah.
What about your job? What do you do for a job? You know, in terms of just secular world.
Because
Yeah.
what this podcast is all about, so
Yep.
this is part of the feedback that we had last time, because we didn't let people know exactly where we were going. So where are we going with this one, Phil?
So ultimately, we want to find out. Last week in the news, there was the government mental health foundation put out a statistic which I found quite shocking, which was 74% of people living in the UK have admitted to being so stressed that they are unable to cope with life. 74%. And that's work life, that's home life, that's general life. And in our case, church life, perhaps.
Yeah.
So your job isn't an easy job, is it? What do you do for work?
So, yeah, so I'm a teacher by trade.
Okay.
Although I don't really teach and haven't taught for a long time. So I work for a group of schools, and I was a head teacher before in London. So I work for a group of schools, and now I look after a cluster of schools across the north of England.
Okay.
And Midlands.
So it's a busy life?
It's a lot of travelling, a lot of staying away.
And is there pressure within that?
Yeah, there's huge pressure because you can. Schools these days are the place where we're expected to deal with every issue that is thrown up within society. So whatever the latest thing that we're dealing with, whatever the latest pressures we're dealing with, schools is the place to pick it up.
So this is not a 9 to 5 job then, is it?
No, so most of the time, so schools will open at 7:30 for breakfast clubs, but staff are in well before that. Head teachers are in way before that.
Your role?
So my role, so I'm getting into schools early doors and leaving quite late at night, and then often travelling to a hotel and spending a good few hours in the evening working on all the admin stuff as well.
So would you say that in your own mental health, there have been times where the pressure has just become so much?
I think you've got to create a healthy work-life balance, and the challenge for me, I think, is that I've got 3 kids. I've got a wife who's managing the family and managing the home when I'm away, and then there's church as well, and there's faith in the middle of that. So that kind of that you might look at that as almost like a trio of 3 things that you've got to manage. And what I've had to do is separate that, is change that thinking, and it's actually 2 things. It's family and it's work. And my faith and it underpins the whole thing and kind of percolates everything. But the balance between family and work is a massive challenge.
So do you find that you're constantly juggling the priorities in your own mind? Is there a sense of guilt sometimes? So just talk about that a little bit.
Well, this week I've been away. I've been away since Monday morning. Back late last night. It's Friday today. I haven't seen the family. Get in late. Kids are going to bed, and then it's up again, and it's working, and it's you miss it. You think, what am I not giving to my kids? I mean, what, I've tried little things to overcome that. So I miss reading with the kids before they go to bed. So one of the things I've done is bought 2 copies of the same book, and then we've gone on FaceTime. FaceTime's great, isn't it?
So you've tried to make those differences, but you've been in a place, because before you do the job now, because it's all right for me and Rob, because we only work 1 day a week, so it doesn't really matter.
Well, as you say, I only work for half a day.
That is true, you only work for half a day.
Part-time.
Before you became a minister in secular work, yours was a pressurised, and it took its toll.
Yeah, well, my last job was a general manager of quite a large business with about 300 staff, and it was hard work. It was constant, like yourself, out very early in the morning, back late at night, and the pressure was immense. But in the midst of all of that, you see, the Lord, in my faith, the Lord was calling me out into ministry, and I was trying to ignore it. No, I don't want to do that. I don't want to sacrifice. I haven't got big enough faith to be able to step out to do that. But He was calling me out all the time. When I was sat on the ministry, when I was reading the Bible, when I had time to read the Bible, He was speaking to me, and I kept saying no. But in the end, I believe the Lord brought me low in order for me to be able to step out. But that's my experience. So there was a time in my life where I was brought really, really low, and perhaps we'll cover this when we look at mental health in a few weeks' time.
I've got another quote, because I thought this was quite an interesting quote. It says this: "There's no such thing as work-life balance. There is work-life choices that you make them, and they have consequences." And I thought it was really helpful. So I'm a builder by background and by trade, and the hours were long. But I think my bigger issue was with my kids when they were little. I was pastor of a church, it wasn't a particularly big church, but I gave so much time to that I neglected. Now, in God's goodness, my kids came to faith and grown up, and we're really proud of them, and they're good kids. But in the early years, I don't think I got that balance between church life and work life.
It's difficult. It is.
It's a difficult thing for us, isn't it? I mean, what was your feeling when we were under that kind of pressure? I mean, I'm trying to think back when I was under pressure. For me, there was like that knotted sense of trying to please everybody all at once in the centre of my stomach. That if I didn't do something or have something done, then that would be a really nagging thing. Was that the same for you in your employment?
Yeah, I think it still is for me. And it's when you're present but not present. So you're there, but in your mind you're thinking, and there's these are legitimate pressures that you're dealing with because the job's pressurised, and it's afterwards that you reflect and you think, actually, you know, I didn't give my kids the time that they needed in that particular activity.
So what about your walk of faith then? How does it, being so busy all the time, affect what you would like to do and are doing in your walk before the Lord? Do you have a conscience about that as well? I presume you did, because I did. I know I did. I had a massive conscience about it. So in terms of your walk of faith and your busy schedule, what are your priorities there? How do you manage that?
I think you've got to you consciously carve out time. It's not easy during the week. You know, I don't see faith as being something you do on a Sunday. It's something that you do. It's something that is part of you. It's every day.
That's kind of in the bloodstream.
Yeah, and that's a real challenge because, you know, the things that you need that kind of fuel you, and the fellowship and meeting up with people. I don't have the opportunity to do that the same because I'm on the road and I'm away. So you've got to find that in other ways. So whether that's listening to podcasts as you're driving down the motorway, and or just, you know, taking opportunities to read and think and pray. But you've got to create that time. You can't just assume that it's going to happen. It's going to come sometime, because it won't, and other things will get in the way.
See, I was reading about Jesus. Because obviously one of the things about us as faith is that Jesus is our example. And if you look at some of his days, Mark 1, you look through what he did. And I was reading in Mark 1, in that one chapter on the same day, you go through the things that he did. You know, for example, on that one day, he preached a sermon in the morning. He cast out unclean spirits at midday. He healed Peter's mother-in-law. At nightfall, he went and healed the sick. There was so much going on in his world. And yet, throughout the Gospels, Jesus constantly takes time out. Yeah. He goes by himself. He goes somewhere quiet. And like you said, you've got to build that in to your day. Yeah. Or into your week, or into your month. And that's a calendar thing. It's like with our wives. Do you do date nights?
Oh, now you got me, haven't you?
Do you do that?
My wife would like to go through. You know, my wife this week, she arranged 2 date nights, and she made sure she told me I have arranged.
You didn't throw it out.
2 date nights. No. This is in the future. She just wanted to make sure that I knew that she had arranged for 2 date nights. So yes, my wife arranges date nights for us.
In our marriage, every day is a date night.
Of course it is.
But to be honest, we used to put that in the diary. That we've not been very good at it recently, but we put it in the diary, so we're not doing anything. The phone's going. Do you think that? Are you able to do that?
In reality, it's more difficult because when I'm home, we've got the 3 kids. Yeah. They're still at an age where they still need us, but they're getting older, so there's more opportunities to do that.
Yeah, I think as your life changes.
Yeah.
You know,
but you have. I think the point is you have got to carve out that time. You said it. I mean, Jesus went aside to rest, and we went to a conference many years ago.
Yeah, we did.
And there was a minister there who's since gone to be the Lord Cornerstone Evangelical Church, Peter Lewis. Mm-hmm. And we sat for lunch with him, and he had a large church. At that time, there was 6-7 people there. And we asked him the question, well, how'd you do it? You know, because we know what it's like in terms of the pressures of being in the pastorate. How do you actually juggle your time? And he said, I always minister from a place of stillness. Yeah. In other words, he said that he to use your words, he carved out time, often first thing in the morning, to be still, and he would protect that time, and from that he would find his strength because he would connect with the Lord. So he ministered from a place of stillness, and I think that, and I've kept that. I've always that's always been in the back of my mind.
I mean, it's not an easy thing to do, and we're not suggesting that Christians shouldn't give everything, because the scriptures say, don't they? No. Do it as unto the Lord, do your job properly. The problem is that ultimately, whatever we do is not necessarily going to be remembered in 50 years' time, 10 years, 20 years' time. You know, people will forget who we are and what we've done. We've given all that effort to the job, to certain things. Dolly Parton, you're a country fan. Dolly Parton?
Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton.
You are going to quote.
I am going to quote Dolly Parton.
This is a different era.
No, Dolly Parton. She's still around.
Dolly Parton. Don't give me that.
Yes, she's still around. She said
working from 9 to 5. She sang that.
She did sing that. Yeah. But she also said, don't get so busy making a living that you forget to make a life.
Yeah.
And I think that's a all right. It's from someone who probably has a very different lifestyle to us, but it's a telling thing, isn't it? That in our home life and in our work life and in church life, I mean, church life often just bolted on because we're stressed about everything else. Yeah. What would you say to someone who's listening to this podcast who right now is part of that 75%? I'm a Christian, but I just can't cope with the amount of balls that I'm trying to juggle in.
Well, let Niall go first. What would you say?
So something we've been doing in work actually is about stepping out of the whirlwind. And quite often I think we're in the whirlwind. That's in in the workplace.
There's a sermon in there.
We and we don't step out of the whirlwind. And if we step out of that whirlwind just for a few moments, whether that's in work to think strategically as a Christian, to just reflect on your faith and your walk, it's important to step out of that whirlwind. And if you can identify time every day, just a short amount of time, just to step out and look at it, and it puts things in perspective as well.
Yeah, and that's the same for me. I mean, it's exactly the same. When in moments of high pressure, in moments of stress, I have to step away. I have to just take stock, and the way I take stock is just to be still. Just to be still with the Lord, with Bible open, and often for me, I journal. I just make notes about what the Lord is actually saying to me, just giving you the space for the Lord to speak, because there may be issues in your life that He's trying to deal with, but you're so busy that you're not listening. So you do have to step out of the whirlwind and just listen to what He's saying. What about you?
For me, my character tends to be, if I can do it at 100 mile an hour, I will. And I find going on holiday, for instance, I don't do holidays well. I really don't. And that's a problem. So that's a battle in personality terms that I have. That I never sense that I have achieved what needs to be done. I mean, I think one of the challenges for me is in church life is we clutter our church calendars. And as pastors, we often expect our congregations to do far more because we want to do this, this, and this, and this. But then, as church members, we can often say, well, no, my priority has to be my career or my family. And we forget what the Lord says. Listen to what the Apostle Paul says, Ephesians 5. And I think you've got another verse from Ephesians 5 as well. But Ephesians 5 says this, Ephesians 5:15. Paul says, look carefully at how you walk. Not as unwise, but as wise, making the best use of the time because the days are evil. We're not going to be here for long. We need to prioritise where God fits in and where eternity fits in. And it's not about meetingitis, and it's not about reaching the top of the tree. It's about honouring God in what we do. Yeah. And that means we have to make changes.
We serve the Lord.
Yeah, we absolutely
we serve the Lord in our work. We serve the Lord in our
so what we
serve the Lord in our community. And Bill Byros, who we know, who's our pastor at Bridge Chapel many years ago, and is now a chaplain at Liverpool Football Club. When he married Jill and I, he said to us both, beware the barrenness of busyness. And that is so true.
That's good. That's really helpful.
Barrenness of business. We can be too busy.
Yeah.
Too busy. And we have to come back and seek the Lord and ask Him to prioritise our days and be prepared to make sacrifices.
I mean, we're coming to the end of our podcast.
So you survived. He survived it.
He's
been sucking in his belly and you have as well.
Listen, this is your
So you're right. Yeah.
So before we go, a couple of things. If you could make one change, in your life to bring those stress levels into a different perspective, what would you do?
Well, for me, I believe I made that change when the Lord really directed me to step out of the work that I was doing and to go into ministry, which is to protect that time of stillness, which is first thing in the morning for me, which is very important, because I couldn't minister if I didn't have that stillness before the Lord, with Bible open, notebook open, and in prayer.
Yeah. What about you, Nial?
I think it's exactly the same, isn't it? Stepping out of that whirlwind and making sure that you prioritise that, giving yourself time to do it.
For me, it's a bit of a cliche, I suppose, but we'll talk about this on another podcast. Our family life has changed quite dramatically in the last few years. For me, it's living every day as if it's the last. Living every day in communion with God and with relationships with family and friends, as if it's the last day of your life. Yeah. So that's podcast episode number 2. Niall, thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's been a delight.
I'm sure
Thank you for sharing your home with us.
Now, we've got something really important to say though. But if you're listening or watching online, then what we want to do is say to you, we're going to have an email address. Hopefully it'll come up at some point. You can send us and keep in touch with me and Rob on 2 Pastors in a Pod. Give us some suggestions, maybe some subject matter. Give us a brew that we can use, which will be great. And you can find this episode of 2 Pastors in a Pod on Spotify or on whatever platform and format you get your podcasts on.
Tell you what, Nathan, you did that really well, didn't you?
Oh yeah, I made a right good job of that. Cheers. Nice.
So next time, we'll have some coffee.
Okay, we'll try and do it. Lovely. Thank you, boys.
Thank you.
Thank you.